Greetings and blessings to all of you. I am your humble host, Mr. David Knoll, also known as Hawkeye Feathers. Yeah, drop it down. And I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite Creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe, and all the things that go with that. And I continue to pray that each and every day that you will learn to adapt to all of the things that are going on in this world. And because we never know from day to day sometimes what's coming next. So I am in constant prayer um, for everybody, actually. And I will continue to pray that folks will, learn to have deep thoughts. Now, thus the topic of this particular video. Now, I'm sitting here, it's 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm still on regular time. In a couple of months, my clock will be right. I don't set my clocks forward nor back, so unless the battery runs out and I have to set them. But I was sitting here and watching a Star Trek episode and having deep thoughts. And I was thinking, I've watched some of these episodes 2, 3, 4 times, but depending on the frame of mind that I'm in, I see different things in the same episode. And give me a couple of days, and if I were to watch the same episode over again, which I might do, just to test my theory and go, well, wait a minute now. Was there something else that was in that show that could have affected me or something anyway? But the idea, though, that when we're in deep thought, we can work out situations within ourselves. And so many of the shows, series, and everything, the Star Trek, and you name it. That's just, but it's always about belief in yourself. I was some other program I was listening to this afternoon during a thunderstorm, and it's that the power of the universe is right in here within every one of us. We can seek answers in books or movies or whatever, poetry or art, or and there's nothing wrong with doing that. Let me make that perfectly clear. So but the idea, though, that is it just for a fleeting pleasure. Hey, Amanda, how are you? Good morning to you as well. Yeah, this is just one of those times where I was sitting here going, I'm bored to tears. I went outside after it rained about, I don't know, it was about 10 o'clock at night with my headlamp on and the porch light with the weed eater, because the grass is so tall, and I went into town yesterday and got a new weed eater, and I was just like, been waiting to go outside, but I'm not going to do it in a thunderstorm. So I went outside, and just because I was bored, and and I could. But anyway, so I'm kind of a little wired a little bit tonight in the respect that, I don't know, something's got me alert, and it's got me in deep thought. So thus this conversation. And it's like, well, what's the deep thought? Well, the video I did last night, oh my God, I can't believe it was as long as it was. And I just rattled on for forever. But I realized that there was a lot of information that even for myself, I needed, like, well, let me, I know I understand this and I speak about it. But after speaking about it, sometimes you think a little more on the same subject and go, there are a lot of folks out there that are talking about this, I am a god, I am a goddess, and stuff like that. And, to try to get someone to lose their religion and to lose what society has taught them to believe that. And so I'm not, this isn't about, this is only touching this subject because it has to do with deep thought. So people will say, well, wait a minute. So I'm going to think about this. And somebody says, well, I'm going to go ahead and jump on the bandwagon with this. And so this is what I'm going to do. And, well, okay. So maybe you should, but how much have you actually thought about it? And so that long conversation about God, goddesses, it is from your point of view. And I saw two other programs today, raining outside, and I'm bored, right? Worried that the lights were going to go out, which they didn't, by the way. And we had some decent thunderstorms come through. But I realized that there are a lot of other folks who are writing things into scripts in the past and nowadays too, in some of the TV programs and stuff like that. And it's interesting that they're all talking about the how, you're looking for answers over here and over there and over here and over there. Well, sometimes you just have to take charge of yourself. And it had to do with somebody with some kind of superpower and trying to control it. That's not the point. But actually, maybe it should be, because there are people who want to use the term God or goddess and that they can manifest things, is such that I in my deep thought, I have to think, well, what the hell would I manifest? I mean, I got my basics. I'd manifest somebody to come out here and help me fix my roof that almost leaked. There were a couple of drops today, but but to manifest what? I mean, I can't think of there are some people who are like, well, I'd like to manifest a great big house. Well, I just want to fix mine. Just want to finish it, and a couple of places here and there, and I would be tickled to death, But to want something bigger, better somewhere else or something, no. I'm, as an engineer and an architect, I've got several ideas for like little earth sheltered hobbit homes, basically. One basic room with a divider, for one or two people, maybe three. But and at my old age, I realized that I've got way too much stuff. So it would be I'm trying to pare down, right? So for folks who have lost a lot of things and don't have much anyway, not that it would be sparse, but it would be adequate, Oh, there wouldn't be walk-in closets. No, but there would be a place to hang clothes and do that. And there would be a place for a dresser and, that type of thing. So, and it would be earth sheltered with solar, passive solar, so that, the upkeep and so forth. I mean, right now at the end of August, the sun is starting to come in my windows. So and at the end of December, but I can literally watch the trail of the sun go across my floor starting right about now, because it's that time of year. So, what's this got to do with deep thought? Because when people they design things without thinking very far ahead. I thought about this years ago about passive solar. My house has been here in this same position, and I've got some trees I'm going to have to cut down because they've gotten in the way of giving me adequate solar energy now. It's nice in the summer, but they're actually in the way and need to come down, and a couple of them are old and need to come down anyway. So, but and that's going to be shortly. But anyway, you have to plan ahead up to a point. So I want to manifest more sunlight in my area. Now, my place used to just be a field. Now there are trees everywhere. So these trees that grew up just from the house, I don't want to cut them down. But at the same time, they're blocking my morning sunlight, and I want to try to get as much as I can in the wintertime. So I have to think about this, and I have to think about whether or not I'm I have to go into deep thought and project. What is this going to look like? I never thought there'd be all these trees in my yard in the field, nor that they would actually be affecting the sunlight coming in into the east side of my house every morning in the wintertime. Now I'm up against the woods to the back of the house, so my best time is morning to mid to late afternoon for sunlight, because of the woods. So I understand that. So, and most houses only get 4 to 5 hours of good sunlight through a south facing window anyway, because of the way the sun travels. So, but with that though, using deep thought, how can I gain more? Well, so I'm adding a porch, and I'm going to take out some limbs over here and a tree down. Lightning took a tree down for me, so I'm getting a little bit more wester depending on what time of year it is. And they're all deciduous trees. So, the oak trees lose their leaves, and I get late winter, early spring sun, over through the west over here. So, but anyway, deep thought. So, but how many people think ahead? Well, I'm going to buy a house, or I'm going to have a house built. Well, what kind? Well, I want this suburban thing. Which way is it facing? I don't know. It's facing the street. Yeah, no, no, no. Which way is it facing? Well, who cares? Oh my goodness. They're all worried about the inside and what the garden's going to look like, but they're not worried about anything. If the lights go out or if the power goes down, wherever you are, that solar energy, even passive for heating, is really, really useful. So with that said, so that's deep thought. So people are not planning after all these years. There are very few people who are actually using what's all been here, what the folks who the cavemen knew about. Okay, they knew not to go in the cave on the north side of the hill. It was windy, it was cold, and the sun never shone there in the wintertime. So they were smart enough to pick the south side of a mountain, on the lee side, if you will. So, even Neanderthal could deep think. They learned after a while, but we as a society, nope. So deep thought is a mesmerizing thing now that is located on a device and also within an app. So everything's an app or a this or that. Here, let me check and let me scroll through my stuff, and oh, okay, fine. But where does the deep thought come in? So many people are seeking, some type of spirituality now, whether they believe that it's the end of the world or that, this is a time to reflect, and which is all good. There are those folks who have been turned to the Bible, and I continue to ask which one. Use the old Douay Rheims version. It is the most accurate and simple to read and understand. It is nowhere near close to the King James version. Go back to the source of all things and look at it for yourself. Don't have somebody else. Well, I've read some chapters of the Bible, but to the point though, research it yourself. Read the Bhagavad Gita, whether you really understand it or not. Try to understand it from a Hindu or an Indian from India would understand. Try to read some of what Confucius said and what his thinking was and how things were brought down to the simple. And the same thing with Buddha. Now you say, well, now, okay, why are you saying this, Hawkeye? Well, because to understand spirituality, you must go into deeper thought. So if you only stick with one particular topic, Christian or Hindu or Buddhist or whatever, Jewish, the idea though that how much thought goes into that. because it's just one single point of view. Well, now the Christians made sure they put into it, the Catholics say it, and they're every time they say the Nicene Creed, that, you know, only the Holy Catholic Church is going to get the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, and life everlasting. Amen. You know, and wait a minute, when I got to that spot where I would not say that line that says the Holy Catholic Church and the communion of saints, I was a little leery on that one. It kind of meant, what do you mean by communion? But I was thinking positive thoughts when I said that. But the line in that prayer that says the Holy Catholic Church, I'm like, no, because my grandmother wasn't Roman Catholic, and I know she went to heaven. My grandmother, Grandma No, who was Roman Catholic, I don't think she went to heaven right away. I think she had some shit she had to work out later on. Deep thought. The way she treated her kids and her grandkids, how she treated me. Oh, Lord have mercy, what a witch she was. Enough said about that woman. But we have to take things into a deeper thought. So what does all of this matter? Well, now for me, that's my family, and I've had to deal with all this. Well, you know, I've literally not, well, figuratively speaking, I was suicidal and held a gun to my head for many years because I was taking drugs and drinking too much and putting myself into situations where I could have had some nasty accidents, ran off the road a few times, but the deer tried to kill me more than anything. Not beer, but deer, as in do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, do, re, do. Anyway. Okay. Hi, Bob. Hi, Amanda. And anybody else lurking out there in the back. It's okay. You don't have to type in. But now, deep thought. So a lot of people go deep thought into Christianity, and it's like, nothing wrong with that. But then you take that and you say, well, okay, but I'm not going to take anybody else's point of view. But you want to learn about spirituality. Yeah, okay. Now, not asking you to go to some kind of Aztec ritual where they are cutting the heart out of somebody and holding it up. No. I'm asking, have you ever tried to read anything about Buddha or the Hindus or, you know, any of that? Just for curiosity's sake. You say, well, I grew up as a Christian and I believe in Jesus Christ. Okie doke. I'm good with that. But you say, but have you ever taken into anybody else's point of view? There are a lot of other people on this planet who don't believe what we believe. So you say, well, this is what I believe, and I'm going to die this way. Okay. But, you know, but what's that motivation? Are you so strong in your belief in a book that was written by a bunch of guys, you know, and they put stuff down, the book, and, you know, because it's to help to keep people in line, and they didn't want this Christianity thing to go overboard. What they wanted to do is to control the population. It's flat, simple, pay attention. So if you're not a Christian, then what do Christians do? They all go, ooh, you know, okay, calm down, you know, don't get your, you know, underwear in a knot. Let's think about this. Deep thought. Now, I you know, respect you folk. You can do this over here. Now, I've known some people who were just anti anything that had to do with God. But here's the thing that I found out that was the key factor. And it's one of the key factors that, you know, I have been telling folks about a long time. My granddaughter and my daughter, I say, listen, when you read that stuff in there about worship, you got to read the older Bible. It says to honor and adore it. You know, King James put that word in there, you know, because he wanted to be worshiped. He considered himself to be God on earth, and, you know, and as king and of England, and he changed, started the Church of England, all that. So guess what, guys? He wanted to be worshipped, so the word was changed to a worship. He didn't want to be adored; he wanted to be worshipped. And so, and he thought that that's the way it should be. So, but the thing is so this idea of worshiping something, mm, you know, and it rubs me the wrong way. And a lot of other people too, and they go, "No, I'm not worshiping anything." So now I have Seventh Day Adventist friends, and we had lengthy discussions. And I told them, some of them, about my Mother Mary experience, and that there were certain statues that glowed to me when I felt her presence. Nobody else saw it. It was just me and in my prayers. And so, but the idea, though, that it carried on with me, and I knew it wasn't the statue, I because it didn't always glow. And there were times when I was like, come on, glow for me. And it didn't. So, you know, it wasn't every time that I prayed before the statues that were very lifelike, very, very beautiful statues. And I just felt at ease. But none of the other statues did it, no other praying. And I prayed a bunch of them back then as a kid and as a Catholic. But so I understand they were like, well, you were worshiping the statue. And so we've had this discussion. And it's like, no, what this statue represents. So there are people who have a Buddha and they go, well, you're praying to a god. Buddha was looking for nirvana and, inner peace and blah. Well, didn't he, he didn't want to be called to God. No. Jesus didn't want him to necessarily start a religion and throw the Bible. He was trying to get away from the Jewish tradition. And so what they do, they threw the Old Testament in there, to remind everybody. And then they put Jesus sort of in the middle there towards the, at the end, to sort of finish out the book. Boy, they really wrote a good one, I tell you. There are things that I do believe. Was Jesus really a man? Was he really crucified? There's a lot of evidence. There was a lot of stuff like that going on. And so I'm going to put my faith in it and say yes. Now, did it happen exactly the same way and all this other stuff? Ain't going there. That my point is that I understand that the Christ consciousness, now this requires more deep thought. There have been those influential people like Buddha. To me, Buddha has the Christ consciousness, and people are going to go, that's blasphemy. Well, Sister Helene told me in 1970 that Jesus, when he disappeared all those years and what happened to him, he went east and he went around and studied the different cultures, Hindu and Buddhism. And I don't know if he got as far as China, but he traveled around and tried to bring that back. So it's like, well, he went to the mountain, he talked to God. Well, I'm sure he did that too. But my point is that he spent that time learning and teaching and whatever to bring it back. Well, then he was baptized. Yeah, okay, John the Baptist, all that, they baptized him, and then his 3 years of stuff, right? Well, he was doing stuff before he baptized. He was tracking, walking, meeting people. He was learning. Maybe he was preaching. But after he got dunked, in the river, things changed. Now, for whatever reason and whatever you believe, it requires deeper thinking. Now, if the true events happen anywhere at all, think about what the Christ consciousness would be. He taught people outside, those who were hungry, they put their bread together and he fed the multitudes. He tried to show that, don't be scared of the seas, that we can have control of the water and things. He was trying to prove that we are all angels way back in the day. So, this idea of we are all gods, Jesus talked about it when he was trying to get Peter out of the boat kind of thing. So it requires a deeper thought. So, but what about, what about Buddha? Was he Christ-like? Well, what does the Christ-like mean? He was teaching love and peace, harmony, you know, um, you know, and there was no sacrifice involved. The sacrifice was of self. Where the Jewish religion and other traditions, so the Romans and not so much the Greeks, but the Greeks had their sacrifices. They're going to cut a lamb on the altar and offer it to Athena, but they always took the thing and cooked it and fed everybody, right? I mean, it was sort of like the back in the day when there were bullfights, or the matador and all that. People say, "Well, they killed those bulls," and yeah, but did anybody in some of those communities? The bull was taken out of the stadium afterwards and was slaughtered, cut up, and fed to the poor people. Now, that didn't happen in every community, but so we only hear part of the story, But I've known people from Mexico and they go, "Yeah, go to a bullfight." Ooh. And when they get done, they take the bull out and they barbecue him, and everybody has a big party and we all drink tequila. And I'm like, "Oh, well, you think they just kill the animal. No, no, no. See, we kill the animal, but we honor it. We cook it and eat it and say, this was a great bull." And I go, "Well, that's a little strange, but at least they're going to feed all these people. They don't just drag it out somewhere and let the flies eat it." So, is it cruel? Well, we kill things all the time. If those of us who are meat eaters. But if you go fishing, if you're going to eat it, you're going to have to kill it. If the only thing you don't have to kill is an egg. And some, my chickens laying eggs, but I know they're not fertilized, so I'm just eating protein. But the idea, though, that deep thought is important to our spiritual development. We have to take in all kinds of information. We have to look at the universe and have deep thought. And so you look at a tree and go, okay, so here's my chore for the day in meditation or understanding. I'm going to pick one tree and I'm going to stare at it. I'm going to look at it. I'm maybe for hours, but I'm going to study it. I'm going to look up to the top. I'm going to see if there are any insect marks, if there are any birds that stop in this tree, or are there any animal tracks around the bottom. I'm going to study one tree and the ecosystem of the tree, and because there are bugs that crawl on the barks of certain pine trees and things. There are things going up and down the tree. There's all kinds of wildlife. There are spiders hiding in little crannies and stuff. Little tiny ants crawling around the bark. You'd think, well, there's nothing going on, and you go, well, wait a minute, it's just a tree. No, it's an entire world. What's living up there? Well, I see a squirrel's nest. Or, there are dragonflies that feed up. There's a hummingbird that passes by or whatever. So the idea, though, the deeper you look into something, not necessarily a rabbit hole. Okay, now let me shut that one off right there. It's not a rabbit hole that we're seeking here. Well, I want more information. I want to, no, but it's acquiring the information. And while you're acquiring it, you just don't go, whoa, look at this. And you keep diving so that you see the mud going by because you're still looking down there. Well, there's a lot of stuff in the mud. I'm thinking of how I dug my well up here. It's 22 feet deep and hand dug. It's had another slight cave in, so I'm got a lot of clay in the water at the moment. Anyway, put another filter on, I guess. But the clay kind of helps clean out my system. I still say that's one of the only reasons why I don't have the kidney problems that I used to have before, is because of mullein oil and because of the clay in my water. And trust me, I've been around enough chemicals in my lifetime. I should have big sores and things like that. We used to wash our hands with gasoline back in the day. Okay, when we worked in the garage and the shop and on the carnival. I mean, literally take a bath in our arms with gasoline. Because we had grease all over us, and but anyway, my arms should just be eat up. The fact that I have skin on my arms is like a blessing. It's very tender, though. I can't do that kind of stuff anymore. But excuse me. Let me have a Bob. Hi, everybody. Oh, somebody. David Castle. Hi, Amanda. I said hey. Teresa, how are you? I only started 30 minutes ago. I wasn't going to do one, and I was like, no, I was having deep thoughts about things, and the thought came out. While I'm sitting here having these deep thoughts, I could just turn the camera on and expound on what I'm thinking to you all. And I also have a book with me tonight. I thought that I'd kind of just let the book speak, but the book is called Animal Speaks. Okay. By Ted Andrews, who I think has passed away a few years back. And I think it's Big Bear Publishing or something like that. They publish a lot of these good books. Let me get the publisher. This book has been gone through and read so many times. This one was 1998 when it was published. So 21 years ago, 22 years ago. But anyway, so I'm going to pick an animal or a critter and I'm going to read about it. And because, if something comes your way or you see a certain thing, and just to give sort of an overview of how animals speak to us, how nature speaks to us, and how this relates to our deep thought. Because, anybody that's got a dog or a cat or whatever, you have to know certain things about the critter after a while, I had a dog once, like it had an extra nipple. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, wait a minute, but there's one all by itself. Wait a minute, and I just thought that was odd. Maybe I kept thinking it was a tick, Hey, JC, ISB, hi, there you go. You get my message, ISB? Back at you. But so anyway, but in this idea of deep thought, so in having a long conversation yesterday about God and things and spirit and all, I was realizing that if anybody just takes something for granted, and now I did some of these things back in my day in learning myself, and I go, wow, that's just so cool. I'm going to go with this. Well, then I went with that for a while, and it just, the rest of it just didn't make any sense or something. And so well, let me read the Bible, or well, let me read the Koran, or let me read the this book or that book or whatever, And then when I started learning more about Indian shamans and the fact that, the animal stories, like the cards I picked the day before yesterday, but that I read out about horse, dragonfly, and then butterfly. And then so my deep thoughts since yesterday was so much about how much illusion is being put upon us. There's a commercial going against the Purdue guy here in Georgia, the Republican, and he's been reporting that the actual cases. I've been talking to some of the kids in some of the schools, and there are 11-year-old kids that know more about this than adults do, and they're like, not many kids have died from this, and kids aren't spreading it. It's you old people that are getting it and dying. And I was like, yeah, 67% of the deaths were reported were actually from old people in nursing homes and with already having respiratory issues. So it's like, so this pandemic, but so we have to understand. So the public schools are like, the kids are going, I'm not wearing a mask. That's what the 11-year-old says. They said we don't have to. And I'm like, okay, but everybody else says, so I went to Home Depot yesterday. Oh, y'all gonna love this one. It's mandatory, right? So got to adapt. Now I bought this package and I thought it was a t-shirt, and actually it was a pair of, I don't know, young adult, I don't know, 10, 11, 12-year-old boy size underwear. And I'm going, I got them home and it was $1. There was $3 or $4 marked off, and the package was wrapped up at the dollar store, and it was just sitting in the bin outside. So it was a young man's underwears, right? So I'm like, that they're a little too small for me. Not that I'm that big, but they're really small. So they were in the truck, and I was goofing around on it, and I was wearing on my head and pulled it over my ears because when I'm down in the swamp, the mosquitoes are so bad. And I used to wear a T-shirt on my head, and I was like, well, this is more comfortable, and keep the mosquito and gnats out of your ears, and I just pull it down over my head like this, or you know. So, but what I did was I cut the crotch out of it. And so, the two legs and the part between, I just cut across there and opened it up, right, and pulled it over my head. So now I can pull the waistband up over here like this, and it hangs really nice around my shoulders. And everybody was like, wow, is that a pair of underwear? I was like, yeah, pretty nifty, huh? I'm wearing underwear on my head as a mask. But it complied. It was comfortable. I could actually breathe in the thing. So we do what we have to do. But sometimes here we go. Sometimes it requires a little bit of deep thought, because they were on the seat, and somehow they got behind the seat, and I'm cleaning my truck out, trying to fix a leak, trying to find a leak, and doing this and that. And so they're there, and the dog's there, and I go, oh, a mask. Let me get my little, handy dandy knife out of my pack, little ditty pack I carry with me. And into the store I went. So it's like, well, what else could I have done? Because I left my other mask here, and how am I going to, I drove all the way here. Now, when am I going to get a mask? If you have a mask to get in and you don't have one, then what do I do? Maybe I got a t-shirt or something. Then there was this pair of underwear, brand new, never worn, perfectly clean. That's not the point. But I was like, so you can get away with wearing underwear on your head. So there. But it requires a little bit more adaptation and there is no box for me to think out of. You hear me talk about this all the time. So in the deep thought of things, spirituality and otherwise, there are solutions out there. But if you go, wow, all I got is this pair of underwear sitting here. I got an old t-shirt. Maybe I can make a scarf, or, in my truck, I got a bunch of tools and stuff in a bucket. And there might actually be a dust mask in there. But I was like, man, I don't want to crawl through all that crap and do this and that. I got some camping stuff back there. There's probably something I could make wait, here's a pair of underwear. So it's using your awareness. So I'm open to anything. There was one time I was broke down in Tennessee on the way down to do a powwow. I was helping a friend of mine. And the serpentine belt broke. And Sunday evening, we found this guy at a pizza store, really good pizza too. And he called his friend who, when he got out of church, went down and opened up the store for us on a Sunday so we could buy a new belt. Well, we had tools, but it was a Cleveland, a big ass Cleveland engine, 3-something horsepower, huge diesel engine. And the tensioner on the thing, I didn't have a breaker bar, couldn't find anything long enough. So I go to the pizza guy and I go, listen, I'm about that far, not enough with what I got. And I know how to use different things. If you got a piece of pipe or anything around, he goes, no. And he goes, there, go back there in the shop and look around out back. And I saw this piece of plastic pipe, and I came back and I said, all I got's this. And he goes, well, we've used that piece of plastic pipe before as a breaker bar. And I looked at him and I said, oh, really? He goes, yeah, that 3/4 will slip right over the end of a 3/8 socket wrench holder thingy. He said, give it a try. Went across the street where the truck was broke down. I don't know, maybe we had it in the parking lot. I'm not sure. Anyway, I went outside, put that piece of plastic pipe on there, and it just bent all to heaven, but it gave me enough to put that belt on. I was like, if you'd have told me I could have used a piece of 3/4 inch plastic pipe to do what I'd done, I'd have said, nah, you're full of balloonies. So you have to really, wait a minute, maybe all things are possible. Maybe it was the fact I was holding on to that piece of pipe for dear life going, please, Jesus, just one more half inch of pull, and I got this thing. And sometimes I think that helps too, to put there are things I'm like, there's no way I could have known how to do that. And I just literally let my fingers do I could picture it in my mind. So I send my fingers out as sensors and allow your mind, because you got to think deep on this, that my fingers can see what's going on around this transmission or the top or something. I've looked at the picture, so I know what it looks like. So now I'm going to feel with it for my fingers. So as I reach for certain things with my fingers, I can picture it in my head. I close my eyes because what good's it? You're going to get dirt in your eyes anyway. So I'm feeling the bolts and doing the thing, and I go, oh, so that's where that is, huh? And I've got this whole picture in my head, just as though I were looking down on it or like my eyes were really open. And I've had some other mechanics that I've talked to, and they really won't talk about that because that's some kind of psychic stuff, and that's like magical and weird and woo-woo. But what it is you're using who you are, your own natural talent. And I've talked about chopping wood and being able to put that axe 2 or 3 times right back in the same crack, one-handed. And my daughter just goes, what? And you have to allow it to happen. If you think about it, you're going to miss, you're going to be short, long, whatever. So I just have found my stance over the years and allow it to happen. Now, what has this got to do with deep thought? Everything. Because if you don't think it's possible, if you put a limitation on it, then you're not thinking real deep. It's a shallow thought. Well, I don't know if that's possible. Well, I've done some magic stuff. I've used puppets and done some things, and kids go, I've had teachers tell me, when you bring those puppets out, all those kids quit looking at you and you disappear, even though I'm visible above the backdrop. They can see my hands. They can see the top of the controls. They can see my face. But they, as soon as the puppets come out, their eyes leave me and go right down here. She said, it's magical. You just disappeared in front of all this kids. She goes, I forgot you were there. And that was the teacher. And I'm like, yeah, see, so there's this like sleight of hand. And people go, well, I was so focused on the puppets. I'm only this much further away, but I'm not there because I've been able to put all the attention on the puppets and make them believable in the audience so I can draw them in, right? And there's an art to it in that. But after performance, the energy that I use to do it, I'm sweating. My shirt is soaking wet. I channel so much energy when I was doing puppet shows. And it could be 50 degrees and I would be dripping with sweat. That's the energy that I use to do those shows. But anyway, so I understand about the energy and the flow of things and how we can use it and how it can make us feel like gods, because being able to make a room full of 150 people, laugh, little kids, kindergartners, first and second graders, not a word in the auditorium. I had teachers come back to me and go, how did you do that? For an hour, these kids were quiet. They paid, And I was up on this big stage. I wasn't right down with them. How do you do that? And I said, it's a talent. So you use what you have, and I would make sure that if they, I would make eye contact with the audience. Whereas actors, they always say, there's that fourth wall. Don't go beyond the fourth wall. I know. I always looked at the audience, much to some of my directors' dismay. And but I always had people tell me afterwards, they say, but Dave, you always make us feel a part of the play because you make eye contact with us. Now there are times when you shouldn't interact with them, then that I've had to just stare at the back wall and not look because of the soliloquy or the emotion or whatever. I didn't want to look at anybody anyway. But in comedy or something like that, you want to make eye contact with folks. You want to bring them in. So that's deep thought. That requires more thought, because if you're just going to go out there and tell a story or whatever, then nobody wants to be, nobody's engaged. So the whole idea then is to engage the audience and engage people. So with that said, but it requires a deeper thought is the whole point. And when you put a deeper thought into it, you can get a better reaction. Now, with that said, somebody out there is hollering, pull a card. So even though I got my Animal Speaks book, I think I'm gonna pull a card and then cross-reference it with that one. Hey, Delaney, how are you? Yeah, I see. Jazzy Poof, hi there. Open Think, 7. Hey, bless you all too. Good to see you all. Yeah. I wasn't going to do this in the middle of the night, and it's like there are folks in other parts of the world that would probably like to be in the live stream, and if I do one at 3 a.m, which it almost is, maybe they can be involved. So, all right, so I got the old medicine cards, and someone the other night, we talked. Oh, I put the box up somewhere. Oh, here it is. This is the original box. Oops. And in it, actually, they have individual cards. So if there's an animal that you see often or something like that, I don't know if they're like seals and walruses or something. So if you live in a particular, Alaska or someplace like that, or some other place where there's more snakes or something, well, I think they do have possum in this one. But, I don't know if they have chipmunk, but, so there might be some critters that there isn't a card for. And so there's some blank cards so you could make your own, which I thought to be really interesting. But anyway, but in discussing this higher mind and deep thought, because of all the shamans I've talked to, what are they talking about? They're talking about spiritual things. They're talking about things that are beyond our realm. So they try to use stories of the animals, which are very effective. In a time when animals used to speak, and to many of us, animals still speak. I'm teaching Duggar over here. If I got a piece of hot dog or whatever I'm munching on, and he wants some, he has to raise his paw and give me his paw, and I'll give him a treat. But if he just wants to be lax about it, no. But that's his way of saying, hey, I want some, and he'll come over and sit up and I'm ready. And the other day I had cooked some ribs, mostly for him, so he could have bones and stuff to chew on as a dog. I'm pretty much toothless anymore, so bones don't really get along with me. But the idea, though, that he knew exactly what to do. So from across the room, he came over and sat down and went, put his paw up like, I'm ready. You got an extra one of them ribs there, Hawkeye? So you can teach things, and animals aren't stupid. Even my chicken has got some sense about her. You know, I went into the chicken pen a couple of weeks back, and there was at least a 4 to 5 foot long oak snake with the chicken standing almost right on top of it. Now, the oak snake was looking for eggs, and the chicken's no threat. And the chicken knew the snake wasn't a threat, although you can hear if the snake's eating an egg, the chicken will let out a particular kind of squawk. And if you listen to it, you'll know. And I'll go out there, and sure enough, there's something in the chicken in the chicken pen. And most of the time, it's a snake, but you know, you'll hear this squawk, 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 and a different thing, and you go, "Whoop, there's something amiss." So now, if you don't pay attention to those kinds of things, if you think that they're not necessary, or well, that's just the chicken squawking. No, she's talking to you. You got to listen, but you have to go out and check. And farmers know. They go, "That's Bessie out there. She's in trouble. She's in distress." And you go out there, and sure enough, there's Bessie in this god awful dress. And you just go, "Lord have mercy, where'd that cow get that gown? You know, and who is her tailor?" A little bit of humor there. Did you get it? Ooh, Raven. Ooh, Raven's been on my mind, actually. So, okay, we're going to pick this card right there. All right. I know. I don't know how many of you were thinking about it. I'm shuffling them. I'll pick another, but Raven's been on my mind, and since it's sitting right there, we're going to talk about it. Because the Tlingit tribe, Raven, and many of those northwest, you know, along Alaska, all the way down, there's a lot of Raven in there. I mean, going back literally 1500, 1200 years, these stories about Raven. And my friend Koshka at the time, the legend keeper, he had masks that were carved out of wood from up there in Alaska, and they were 1,200-year old. The beautiful carved masks, and looked a lot like what the totem poles look like from up there. And so, and one of the things that some people like, you know, the order of critter on the totem pole makes a difference. It tells a story. So it's not just a bunch of faces. No, the critters on the totem pole tell a story and how it's carved and all that. But anyway, but Raven is a big deal. So Raven, number 16, coming in at number 16 here at 3:01 a.m. And on, I guess it's a Tuesday morning. So we got the morning drive here on in Southwest Georgia, talking about Raven. So all of you all out there in the broadcast, I used to do radio. Raven, black as pitch, mystical as the moon. Speak to me of magic. I will fly with you soon. Interesting. Raven, magic. Throughout, wait. Let me get something to drink here. Three Finker. I love my chickens so much they help me ground. Yeah. They do. How are you, Three Finker? Good to see you. Thumbs up. Jazzy Pill. Yeah, we have to be open to hear the messages. Raven. David Castle. My cardinals chirp very loud when the crows come in the yard to bully them. Yep. And you know something I haven't seen a lot of, or I haven't seen any, is blue jays. There used to be a lot of blue jays, and I can't remember the last time I saw a blue jay. Now we've got cardinals and sparrows and these, warbler kind of little birds. You read my newest message, is Beep? Okay. If it ain't storming tomorrow, maybe we can contact. I just wasn't getting on the phone in the middle of a thunderstorm. But anyway, so Raven, magic. I got these weak glasses and I got to go for the other ones. Oh, here we go. Hiding over here in the corner. Throughout time, Raven has carried the medicine of magic. Now, I want to sort of mention something here. Now, in this, they talk about magic and power and this and that. It's always the medicine. So it's not a power of such, it's a medicine power. So how do you use it? How do you use that medicine? So rather than saying it's a power or a gift or whatever, it's medicine. So you want to use porcupine medicine or you want to use raven medicine. That raven brings with it magic, which we'll get to. But if you'll notice, everything is related to a medicine. Now, that medicine can be in a ceremony. It could be medicine that could help us in the future. So if, owl brings us a message, or any other critter is for that matter, brings us a message and we're listening, so that's medicine for us to take. Here's information, here's the critter, here's what that could mean to you. Now take your medicine. You know what I mean? So you could say, well, and by taking your medicine, it gives you internal power, spiritual, whatever you're working on. So, but understand that all of these critters and all of these things in native traditions, they are considered medicine. So everything is medicine. You follow? So where other people in other nations and white people, they don't pay attention. Medicine is what comes in a bottle versus native, natural. The whole planet is medicine. Okay, there's my little spiel, but it is important. And see, that's deep thought. It requires a deeper level of understanding. You got to push your limits and go, it's just dirt. No, it's not just dirt. There are microbes in the dirt. There's this, and there's that. There's dirt that was buried 2 foot out here that I uncovered by digging out my foundation. At the bottom of this ditch that ain't had nothing in it, there are weeds growing. Now, I want to know where those seeds came from. I mean, they're like the bottom of the foundation there. And I'm like, now, how in the hell did you get in there? There's grass growing. I'm trying to grow a spot of grass out here, and I can't. But over here, where I just dug up a foundation, where, clay foundation, there's these big pieces of grass growing. How did it get there? Don't know. But as soon as I uncovered it, up it comes. So you never know. Everything is magic. I'm sorry, everything is medicine. Throughout time, Raven has carried the medicine of magic. This has been true in many cultures across the planet. It is sacred in the medicine ways to honor Raven as the bringer of magic. If the magic is bad medicine, the carrier may be honored out of fear rather than respect. Now think about that. Aren't there a lot of ravens out there that we're just afraid of? You know what I mean? Those who fear Raven may do so because they have been dabbling in areas which they had no knowledge, and a spell may have backfired on them, or a sigil that has happened, or some of these other words and phrases. Rather than analyzing the dark side of sorcery, realize that you will fear Raven only if you need to learn about your inner fears or self-created demons. Let me read that part again. Rather than analyzing the dark side of sorcery, realize that you will fear Raven only if you need to learn about your inner fears or self-created demons. Now, I that statement right there, I have talked with folks over the years, and I created my own demons as well. But having come out of that self-creating demon crap several years ago, it's obvious now that there are some folks, and I can listen to them and go, man, you keep repeating the same thing over and over every 10 or 15 minutes. And I used to do it. And you have to realize, wait, I spoke about that already, and zip it. No, I think I want to rephrase it and talk about it again. No, that don't work that way. But the brain it's got it up in here, and they're demons that possess us, like some of these folks that are going nutsos with these masks. It's a self-created demon. There's a guy out in the middle of a golf course on with a mask on, and I want to yell, "Hey, stupid!" and shoot him with a golf ball from a a spud gun or something. You know what I mean? But anyway, so self-created demons, and folks are making them up left and right. Raven magic is a powerful medicine that can give you the courage to enter the darkness of the void. Now, yesterday when I read about the horse, the dreamwalker got on the black horse, who took him into the darkness so that he could find the light. So this is again discussing the darkness of the void, which is the home of all that is not yet in form. Now, this is also repeated from the rabbit, because rabbit wants to put forth his fear into something that hasn't happened yet. He's afraid of getting eaten. So he runs out and goes, "Here I am, hawk, eat me, eat me, eat me," and he hollers until he gets eaten. So, and it's the same message in this with Raven that was given with Rabbit. I think Rabbit came up twice already in some of these cards. So this is a reoccurring thing that keeps coming up with the cards. Just want to kind of point that out. I'm realizing it myself too. I'll just start over. Sorry. Raven magic is a powerful medicine that can give you the courage to enter the darkness of the void, which is the home of all that is not yet in form. The home of all that is not yet in form. In other words, it's coming, okay? But if, quote, we want to manifest it. Well, rainy days and sun Mondays always get me down. But if you don't sing, if you sing it on Friday, does it get you down on Friday? Is it just the rain, or is it because you hate Mondays? Or, anyway, we create it, right? Our own demons, our own darkness. We go into the void. The void is called the Great Mystery. Great Mystery existed before all other things came into being. Deep thought. Think about this. Great Spirit lives inside the void. I'm sorry. Great Mystery existed before all other things came into being. The Great Mystery. It existed first. Great Spirit lives inside the void and emerged from the Great Mystery. Raven is the messenger of the void. If Raven appears in your spread, you are about to experience a change in consciousness. Well, knock me over with a feather. This may involve walking inside the Great Mystery on another path at the edge of time. Now that's creepy. It would portend a signal brought by the raven that says, "You have earned the right to see and experience a little more of life's magic." Raven's color is the color of the void, the black hole in space that holds all the energy of the creative source. In native teachings, the color black means many things, but it does not mean evil. Think about that. Black can mean the seeking of answers, the void, or the road of the spiritual or non physical. Now, think about that. There's spiritual, and then there's the non physical. Whoa, wait a minute. Well, there are things out there that we can't see, but we've taken pictures of, right, Delaney? Of the orbs that have come across my screen and screen in the middle of so we know that there are other things out there. So, but those aren't necessarily spirits. But I'm looking for they're non-physical entities. So it does spiritual means you and me and our souls and all that. And there could be other spirits going around, but then there's the non-physical too. So okay. Deep thought. Remember, that's the name of this video. The blue black of Raven contains an iridescence. Iridescence was brought up with the dragonfly from yesterday. So there is a message kind of carried through here that speaks of the magic of darkness and the changeability of form and the shape that brings an awakening in the process. The magic of darkness and the changeability of form and shape that brings an awakening in the process. So when we close our eyes, we can picture things. So we can be deep in thought. This really kind of fits, doesn't it? Be deep in thought, and we could ask Raven to help us with these answers. Raven is the guardian of ceremonial magic and is in absentia healing. In any healing circle, Raven is present. Raven guides the magic of healing and the change in consciousness that will bring about a new reality and dispel disease or illness. Raven brings in the new state of wellness from the void of the great mystery and the field of plenty. Raven is the messenger that carries all energy flows of ceremonial magic between the ceremony itself and the intended destination. For instance, if a ceremony is being performed to send energy to a disaster area where people need courage and strength, Raven would be the courier for that energy flow. Interesting. The intention could be to allow the people of the devastated area to feel the concern and the support of the participants in the ceremony. If you have chosen Raven, magic is in the air. Do not try to figure it out. You cannot. It is the power of the unknown at work, and something special is about to happen. The deeper mystery, however, is how you will respond to the sparkling synchronicity of this alchemical moment. You will recognize it and use it to further enhance your growth. Can you accept it as a gift from the Great Spirit? Or will you limit the power of the great mystery by explaining it away? It may be time to call Raven as a courier to carry an intention, some healing energy, a thought, or a message. So we want to send healing to someone, we ask Raven to carry it for us. Aho, Jazzy Pool. Raven is the patron of smoke signals or spirit messages represented by smoke. So if you want to send a message to the Blue Road of Spirit in order to contact the ancients, call Raven. Or who knows, the ancients may be calling to you. Remember, this magic moment came from the void of the darkness, and the challenge is to bring it to light. In doing so, you will have honored the magician within. Now it was upright, but I think it bears to read the contrary because sometimes we find messages there. Raven reverse is not to be taken lightly. It can mean that the boomerang is coming home. If you have wished harm to another, beware. If you have asked for this harm to teach you in turn what it feels like. So, in other words, I don't know, sometimes we will criticize another or something, and, you know, like some of these people with the mask, some of these people can be just real a-holes, but there's no point in making a scene about it. Well, there are people who will make a scene about it. Then there are the people who watch the scene and get pissed off about that. And it's an ever ending, oh my God, well, you just calm down. It's one tiny little incident, but they carry it forward. And it could be about this or that, but right now it's masked. So, but anyway. So you could say, well, I wish that person would, get a grip or yeah, that's meanie. So, but I always pray that people will learn to accept and receive from the universe. So, but if I'm grouchy or grumpy towards someone or people or thing, that can come back to haunt you. So be careful. If you have wished harm to another, beware. You may have asked for this harm to teach you in turn what it feels like. If you have not been wishing evil on another, contrary raven may be bringing you a warning that you are not equipped to move into another level of consciousness until you have mastered the one you are currently working with. How many times have I talked about this fourth dimension skipping grades? So maybe Raven, now it wasn't upside down, but we have to understand the contrary of this. And Raven brings, messages as a courier. So maybe the message is, here I am to be able to, convert and convey and, be the courier of magic. Um, that Raven may be telling you, you have forgotten the magic of life and have settled into a mundane rut. If this rut suits you and you do not want to experience the extraordinary magic in your life, ask Raven to fly through your dreams and give you a taste of its medicine. If you do, you may never be the same again. Contrary Raven may also be portend to a time of smoky, confused messages that you cannot see or hear because your intellect is insisting that magic isn't real. If you cannot imagine or pretend due to your lack of faith in magic or miracles, healing cannot take place. Have you ever heard you've heard me talk about that 100.1%. You must have faith. You don't have to understand it to have faith. And it's not about having faith in God, but in the source and in the creator, in the creation of all things. And that we have this healing within us if we just know how to use it, or it's turned on, or we get the right vibes from the universe. There have been many miracles. And so, but if you don't believe in miracles, then it ain't going to happen. Period. It stops right there. So, in this message tonight of deep thought, we must consider whether you understand it and but if you say, okay, it's there, I don't have to understand it, but I can say, I 100% agree that magic, miracles, now, I don't, well, I'm, there are sorcerers who can create and do things. So there is that. But we're speaking the magic, the medicine, the magic that heals us. And it's not necessarily like a magician's magic. It's just natural. It is what it is. If somebody, there were old timers who took turpentine a lot, like a little bit every day. And, it's been too hot to go in the woods, but when I go back into the woods, there's a lot of pine trees, and you can scrape off a big chunk of pine sap, which is turpentine, basically. And I'll just put a piece of that in my mouth. Now, It's turpentine. It feels, it tastes like you're chewing on a pine tree log, which is what you are. But the sap, there's something in the sap, and the old timers help prove rheumatism and this as and the other thing. And my first pa-in-law, he lived to be 92, although it was several years in bed and he didn't see much, but he still took his yeah, so pine sap. Raven, if you cannot imagine or pretend due to your lack of faith in magic or miracles or healing, it cannot take place. Raven may be pecking at the door to your consciousness, not unconscious, but to your consciousness. But you will not receive unless you clear the smoke and seek the other realms of imagination and awareness where magic lives. Accept and receive the healing and the wisdom from the universe. To right the contrary raven, you may need to seek a trained shaman to clear the energy field you have created. You might need to block some negative energy sent by another person or cancel the harm you wished on someone else. Keep it clean. So God forbid back in, they still do it down here in the South. Oh, look at that dress on Sally Mae, bless her heart. It's okay for her to say because they was like, bless her heart, so, but it's still cruel. You still shouldn't do it. Ground that energy so that manifestation of the magic, wait, seek healing and clearing of intention. Then reach for the stars and honor Mother Earth and all other living things. What did I say yesterday? And I always say, I know I'm repeating myself. Just say thank you. Doesn't have to be to anybody. Just thank you and mean it. Fill yourself with the magic of being alive and call Raven to teach you the proper way of using energy. Now, this is a good message to me because I need to holler at Raven. I'm getting old and my energy's lacking. Raven, so this could quite very well be for me as well as you, but ground that energy so that the manifestation of the magic can occur. Do this in love and simplicity. Raven will tell you this magical truth. Never go beyond that which you have prepared and trained for. Third, fourth, fifth dimension. Yeah, we're going to skip it. Never go beyond that which you have prepared and trained for. Life is good, so use the magic to aid the entire family of Earth. Okay? So, Raven, now I'm gonna take a quick break. Now, it's an hour and 18 minutes in. And there's 9 of you left in here. Um, Maybe there's somebody else lurking. I don't know. If y'all want me to pull a card, I'm gonna take some copies, say thank you, Bob. Might even light a cigarette and take a hit. Sort of take a break. Huggin and Munnin brought info back to Odin. Sarcasm was the gift from the creator. I don't know. There are many cultures which sarcasm is highly frowned upon. Some of the native cultures, it was real easy for me to piss off a Navajo one time. And there was just a little bit of sarcasm in there. And, it did not go over well. So I would question that one, depending on where you're from, about that, but about sarcasm being a gift. But anyway, hi, the brick. Self is a mirror of the creator. Three finger. I'd like to go and get some animal cards. Yep, these have been interesting. So all right, now I'm gonna shuffle. Let me, Bob. Thank you. Here's some coffee. Mwah. Yum yum. I can taste the minerals in my water. I mean, literally, I can taste the minerals in my water. There's clay floating around in it. Okay, so all right, they shuffle them again. Wait a minute. Okay, I just got I just have the cards, and I'm just kind of thumbing through them. Now I've shuffled them before and flipped them, and so some of them may be upside down, and others may not be. And I keep coming back to this card right here. So I've shuffled down, and it's just sort of a warmth or something to the cards is the only way I can tell. And sometimes they go, stop, turn that card over. And it's one of these two. Maybe, anybody else in there? I'm thumbing through them. If I had them on a table, I would spread them out and try to pick them. But in this, see, I went through the top of this, and there's nothing in there that feels like anything. Maybe this one. Now I've picked 3, 4, 5 cards, and don't ask me why. And wait, there's another one in here. Somebody needs a card, and it's Spider. Ooh, yeah, this is like pick this one, Spider. Ooh, and they're telling me to read that one first. So okay, and it came up straight up. So this is interesting. I was looking at the beginning of the book, and I've just been pulling 2 or 3 cards, usually a 3-card spread kind of thing. Gives me a really good indication. There's a message, 3 cards will kind of pretty much cover. And up to this point, it's been doing really well. If I'd been trying to pick a topic, a card will come up. So, and y'all have been hanging out with this stuff. So anyway, here's Spider. And I've got these other cards sitting right here. I'm just going to lay them down here on the keyboard thingy. And number 43. So that would be a 7 if you added it together, whatever that means. Oop, Spider. Went right to it. Weaving. Spider. Weaving webs of delight. Weave me a peaceful world. Carrying creation in your web. Waiting to be unfurled. Spider wove the web that brought humans the first picture of the alphabet. The letters were part of the angles of her web. Dear asked Spider what she was weaving and why all the lines looked like symbols. Spider replied, why, dear, it is time for Earth's children to learn to make records of their progress in their earth walk. In their earth walk. We have other walks. This is just the earth walk. Dear, answered Spider, but they already have pictures that show through symbols the stories of their experiences. Yes, said Spider, but Earth's children are growing more complex, and their future generations will need to know more. The ones to come won't remember how to read the petroglyphs. So it was that Spider wove the first primordial alphabet, as she had woven the dream of the world that had become manifest. Spider's dream of the physical world had come to fruition millions of years before. Now, many of you may remember I have talked about spider in the universe, and David Cashel, if you wish you smoke, then by all means, no judgment here. Oh, thank you. Greetings and favor. Este Montfort, blessings. Absolutely smoke. Yeah, thank you. Um, I really try not to, but to the point, since y'all are forcing me to, I am gonna light one. It's been an hour and a half, and I was sitting here, and anyway, but in talking about spiders, so I've read some of these things before, and I've read a lot of things about animals and spirit books and so forth, but the spider web of the universe, and that there are, these translucent type spider beings in the universe that are huge, and if we saw one, we'd, literally poop our pants. Um, but that they keep, the world and the universe together with the spider web. So, um, so it was that spider wove the first primordial alphabet as she had woven the dream of the world that had become manifested. Spider's dream of the physical world had come to fruition millions of years before. Now, there again, is this magic? Is this bullshit? Is this, how much of this do you want to believe? Well, but you've seen pictures of the universe, and it's everything's attached with these little spider web like things. So did spider really create this web of the universe? And when you look at a spider, so but spider weaving. So we have to think deep thoughts and on a grander scale. Now, could there be a critter that's that big out there tending the universe? Well, when well, what does an ant think of us? You know, Spider's body is made like the number 8, consisting of 2 lobe-like parts connected at the waist and 8 legs. Spider is the symbol for the infinite possibilities of creation. Spider is the symbol for the infinite possibilities of creation. Her 8 legs represent the 4 winds of change and the 4 directions on the medicine wheel. Spider weaves the webs of fate for those who get caught in her web and become her dinner. This is similar to humans who get caught in the web of illusion in the physical world. Now, see, yesterday we were talking about dragonfly and illusions. So, and never see beyond the horizon into the other dimensions. So, Spider was chosen tonight. They were like, here, take this one. Because this is a subject about deeper thought. We've got to be able to go deeper than just this trivial stuff that we get presented with. The web of fate also represents a wheel of life, which does not include any alternatives or solutions. It is typically human to get caught up in the polarity of good or bad fortune without realizing that we can change it at any time. If we do, if we are not decisive enough about changing our lots in life, we may end up being consumed by our fears and limitations. So here comes this fear thing again. Rabbit the other day, earlier, Raven, want to see, chase your fears. Spider is the female energy of the creative force that weaves the beautiful designs of life. Her web has hundreds of intricate patterns which catch the morning dew. Man, if you've ever seen a big spider web or late in the evening after a shower, man, if spider has dropped from her web into your cards today, she may be telling you to create, create, create. I did a video about create, right? Look for new alternatives. That's what I said to your present impasse. You can also be warning you that you are coming too close to an entangled situation. Spider could be asking you to use a journal to write out your review your pro to write out and review your progress. If you do this, you will not forget how you are creating a new or different phase in your life. So if you don't write down where you are now, in 2 weeks, are you going to know that anything's different? Spider brings a message of a different kind when she sees you becoming a bit too involved in the weaving of your life plans to notice opportunity at the outskirts of your web. If this is the case, Spider gets your attention so that you notice that something has you have woven has borne fruit. Spider caught you just in time before you missed the opportunity on the edge of your web or reality. The most important message from Spider is that you are an infinite being who will continue to weave the patterns of life and living throughout time. Do not fail to see the expansiveness of the eternal plan. I'm always talking and harping about we got to look at the bigger picture. We have to have deeper thoughts. We've got to, there is no box to think out of. We have to consider that. Because if our life considers a box we have to think out of, then we're in a box. Hawk. Guess who showed up again? Dragonfly. Ant. Upside down. Lizard. I think we did lizard the other day, but this one's upside down. And deer is upside down. Interesting. Hawk medicine, we can pretty much, I'm going to skip hawk for the moment. And we did dragonfly the other day, but interesting that they wanted me to pull that card again. And I shuffled them really well. I did. So it wasn't like, well, it was on the bottom and I put in that. So, but dragonfly showed up again. So there is a matrix we're looking at, and Spider is talking about it. There's the great web of life of the universe, not just on our planet. And dragonfly, we need to use that medicine and not be afraid of our fears and understand that are these other realms. Hawk tells us to keep an eye on things. Let me brush Hawk for real quick. Hawk is a messenger. Hawk, messenger of the sky, circle my dreams and teach me the message as we fly. Hawk is akin to Mercury, the messenger of the gods. Hawk medicine teaches you to be observant, to look at your surroundings. Observe the obvious in everything that you do. Life is sending you signals. Well, this is just backing up what I've been trying to say about deeper thoughts and open our hearts and our minds and expanding the universe. We have to look at all of it. Life is the initiation. If you pulled the Hawk card, then right now, a clue about the magic of life is being brought to you. Well, we're having a discussion, so maybe that part is true right there. This magic can imbue you with the power to overcome a currently stressful or different situation. And we're all going through it. The test is your ability to observe the nuances of power lurking nearby. Now, there's a lot of nuances going on with the elections and stuff coming up. Just saying, this is a messenger. Our solution is the power, the talent you have and are not using. Our solution's always hard to find because you've lost the broader vision of Hawk. For example, the underwear in my car turned into a face mask. And it works really great. I'm ready to buy some more underwear. Um, or has the gloominess of a present situation left you earthbound, unable to hear the voice within the raindrops splashing on your window? Pay attention. You are only as powerful as your capacity to perceive, receive, and use your abilities. What is called for here is an intuitive ability to discern the message carried within the cry of Hawk. The shrillness of Hawk's call pierces the state of awareness and asks you to seek the truth. The ancients recognized this magnificent bird of prey as a messenger bringing tidings to the earth walk, the good red road, from the world of the grandfathers and grandmothers who lived before them. If Hawk were to magically cry, it was a sign to be aware or beware. This could mark the coming of a warring tribe, the birth of a child, or the celebration of counting something. Anyway, Hawk's cry signaled the need for the beholder to heighten awareness and receive a message. So Hawk's telling us to pay attention to the messages, and Dragonfly is caught up again. So I'll briefly go over that one, but I don't think I pulled the deer. Maybe I did. Number 4. Dear, so gentle and loving you are, the flower of kindness and embrace from afar. No, I haven't read this one recently. Gentleness. You always hear me preach about being the compassionate observer, gentleness, the deer. And I've had the opportunity to raise some deer, baby fawns into deer on the wildlife refuge that I work with. My friend Serge, who passed away recently. And to be around these deer and just have them walk right up behind you and tap you on the shoulder, and there's this full-grown deer standing there. It's just flipping amazing, being out in the country like we were. And anyway, it's a beautiful thing. Dear, gentleness. Number 4. One day, Fawn heard Great Spirit calling to her from the top of Sacred Mountain. Fawn immediately started up the trail. She didn't know that a horrible demon guarded the way to Great Spirit's lodge. The demon was trying to keep all the beings of creation from connecting with Great Spirit. Now, this is interesting in that, doesn't it seem like there's so much going on in our lives right now, and politics and this and that, world event, that's trying to keep us away from being spiritual. So interesting that this is being here. He wanted all of the Great Spirit's creatures to feel that Great Spirit didn't want to be disturbed. That's what the demon was doing. This would make the demon feel powerful and capable of causing them to fear him. Isn't that going on with us right now? Fawn was not at all frightened when she came upon the demon. This was curious, as the demon was the archetype of all the ugly monsters that had ever been. The demon breathed fire and smoke and made disgusting noises to frighten Fawn. Any normal creature would have fled or died on the spot from fright. Fawn, however, said gently to the demon, "Please let me pass. I'm on the way to see Great Spirit." Fawn's eyes were filled with love and compassion for this oversized bully of a demon. The demon was astonished by Fawn's lack of fear. No matter how he tried, he could not frighten Fawn, because her love had penetrated his hardened, ugly heart. Much to the demon's dismay, this rock hard heart began to melt, and his body shrank to the size of a walnut. Fawn's persistent love and gentleness had caused the meltdown of the demon. Due to this gentleness and caring that Fawn embodied, the pathway is now clear for all of Great Spirit's children to reach Sacred Mountain without having to feel the demons of fear blocking their way. So, and one of the things about having faith, are there demons of fear that are stopping you from having these deeper thoughts and understanding? Well, this just might be possible. I can be healed. I can reach this. I can be, I am worthwhile, even though I might only do certain. I am a part of this universe. So, but if the demons of fear that are blocking us from reaching Sacred Mountain, and so that's where we're all trying to. You get that, Isby? Good. That's good. So, and early in one of the other ones, it was that um oh, with Spider, or was it Raven, we create our fear. So is it fear that is self-created? So, well, I'm not good enough. Well, wait a minute. What makes you not good enough? From this point forward, you say very simply, I am sorry for all of my past, and I promise to do better from this point forward. And do so. It really is as simple as that. Well, but there is a lot in that you must forgive yourself, and there's a lot of other stuff. But the bottom line is, you just say, from this point forward, I'm just going to do the best I can. If Deer has gently nudged his way into your cards today, you are being asked to find the gentleness of spirit that heals all wounds. Stop pushing so hard to get others to change. Some of us are guilty of that. Stop pushing so hard to get others to change and love them as they are. Apply gentleness to your present situation and become like the summer breeze, warm and caring. This is your tool for solving the present dilemma you are facing. If you use it, you will connect with Sacred Mountain, your centering place of serenity, and Great Spirit will guide you. Now, Deer was upside down, so I got to read the contrary. Deer in the contrary position indicates that you are courting your fear by fighting the internal demons of negative ideas. This is a clue for you that force is not always the best method. You may not be willing to love yourself enough to feel your fears and let them go. You may be projecting your fears on others, and others may be projecting their fear on you. It may also be others whom you fear, reminding you of a time when you reacted to life in much the same manner. At any rate, love is the key. The only true balance to power is the love and compassion of Deer, the compassionate observer. I'm always preaching about that mess. Be willing to find things to love about yourself and others, and your demons will melt away. Your fears cannot exist in the same place that love and gentleness abide. I'm going to repeat that one. Your fears cannot exist in the same place that love and gentleness abide. So if you replace your fear with something else, dun, da, 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 remember, Fawn can teach you many lessons about unconditional love. It is in its true application. Unconditional love means that no strings are attached. The gentleness of Fawn is the heart space of Great Spirit, which embodies his or her love for us all. One of the things that I can see right here in this message is stop pushing so hard to get others to change and love them as they are. Now, I've mentioned this before. about when I was early on in my shaman medicine and ceremonies and stuff, and I could see the demons and I could see the spirits and I could feel their presence, and I demanded that they get away, and that just pissed them off. So as I've discussed before, there are many of them that are still around, but I respect their right to be there. Now they don't have the right to get into my space and affect me. But if they're not messing with anything and they're just existing, they have the right, you know. So whether we like it or not, and this is a great lesson in patience. You can say, well, I don't know, but if you try to force somebody to get to your point of view, you're not going to make it. And I've discussed this in the past, but it is imperative that we don't get in a tussle with folks. If they're coming along and you can see that their spiritualism, and like my friend with the Bible, God's going to come on a cloud. He's still got that in his head, and heaven is the pearly gates. So, but his other things are expanding his horizons. And so my prayer is that hopefully he'll reach it one day, that God is more than the Bible and more than pearly gates. But yet, God exists, and great spirit, but at least he's trying, at least he's following that Buddha Christ consciousness idea that every living thing matters, and there's only one rule in the universe: do no harm, and it covers everything. Now, I want to go to Ant, because I do not remember Ant. It was upside down. Hey, Three Finger. Most people, I believe, are suffering from synchronicity. The brick, large dogs, they will lick you nonstop. Yes, yeah, my dog. I'll be laying there on the couch with him, and he just like starts licking. Three Finger, I really prayed this message today. Today is going to be a great day. Yes. Now let me get to Ant, and I'm proud and thankful that my getting on here, that this see, that's my connection to my spirit guide. That's my connection that says, you need to do this, Hawkeye. But it's 2 a.m. What else are you doing? I don't know. I'm bored. Well, then do it. Okay. So here I am doing this at 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's actually almost 4 now. But the idea, though, that somebody needed this. So it's like, okie dokie. I'm going to go ahead and follow this and do it. Okay, Ant. I was watching ants the other day. Oh, tiny ant, your patience grows like the sands of time. Can I learn to be like you, or is it too sublime? Patience. You're welcome, Three Finger. Patience. Number 32, which is a 5. Okay, for those of you who do that number thing. Ant can carry a leaf over hundreds of miles just to get it back to the ant hill. That's true. Ants in Africa will strip a forest bare when food is scarce if it takes them a year. Ants' medicine is the strategy of patience. Patience. Ant is the builder like beaver, is aggressive like badger, has stamina like elk, scrutiny like mouse, and giveaway like turkey. Every ant in an anthill is part of the ant group mind, as all the ants work for the queen and the hive. Self-sacrifice is a part of the ant medicine. Greater than ants' other medicine, however, is patience. Ant people are active, community-minded folks who see the greater future needs of their town. Ant people are planners, like squirrel, and are content to see their dreams being built a little at a time. Boy, I've got ant patience around here because I'm still building this house. In today's society, that is a rare quality. In the desert, one type of ant will burrow a conical hole with its apex at the bottom. The ant will cover itself and patiently wait for some unsuspecting insect to fall in. Actually, that is an ant lion that traps ants, but we'll go on. Patience does have its rewards, though. Ant people have a knowing about the sweet victory at the end of the line. There is never a concern about going without if they are late for the opening of a sale. If what they want is sold out, they are sure that something equal or better is available. If you have ant medicine, you eat slowly and deliberately and are content to know that what is yours will come to you. This knowledge is good medicine. It shows a trust in the universe to provide. Now, ant came upside down, so I got to read contrary. Ant is working for, this is still with the upright. If ant is meandered into your spread today, it is time to show a little trust and patience in some life situation. You may have forgotten that you will always receive that which you need at the time you need it most. If it is not on the horizon or just around the next anthill, you may need to use some strategy. How can you put your power of creation until it arrives, whatever it means to you at the time? Ant is working for the good of the whole. Are you? If you are, be assured that the whole wants the same goodness for you and that it will be provided. So, we as a soul tribe, we as members of the League of Like Minded Beings, we as spiritual entities on this planet in this universe, if we understand that the universe will provide one way or the other, and we have faith in it, then it doesn't matter. Like Native Americans, who say, well, um, any place is a good place to stop and take a rest. It doesn't matter. So, of course, there are better places closer to water or whatever, blah blah blah. But anywhere on Mother Earth is okay. So we're always at home, whether you have a home or not. But anyway, so it's our thought process about this. Now, ant contrary, watch out. Here comes the sting. If you are in a hurry, you may fall prey to those who are not working for the good of the whole of humanity. Those individuals who make greed a way of life prey on the fear and urgency of those who have forgotten natural and tribal law. It's easy money. If this warning applies to you, become aware of users and con artists. Now, we all got to be aware of that. In the contrary position, and also teaches you to trust natural law. If you do, harmony will always follow. Your silly impatience will bring Coyote to aid you in sabotaging your plans for the future. Coyote, Wile E. Coyote, he's always doing something, but he gets, he crashes. He knows he's going to fail. If you allow your panic to outweigh your rational sensibilities. So, why this topic of deep thought? Because some folks are being a little too panicky and irrational. The key here is to honor the will of the great spirit, so that mountains are not made out of anthills. So don't make things out of nothing. The message early on was from Raven. Be careful not to create your own demons. Fear the fear of things. Oh my God. Now here comes Lizard, and I think I read Lizard the other day, and but it was upside down this time, and I'm almost there, so why not, right? Lizard dreaming. We did talk about this. Lizard, will you dream with me? Travel across the stars, beyond the place of time and space. There live visions from afar. Yeah, I did read this the other day. Lizard sat on in the lolling around in the shadow of a big rock, shading himself from the desert sun. Snake crawled by, looking for some shadow to coil up in and rest. Snake watched Lizard for a while as Lizard's eyeballs went side to side behind his enormous eyelids. Snake hissed to get Lizard's attention. Slowly, Lizard's dreaming eyes opened and he saw the snake. Snake, he cried, you scared me. What do you want? Lizard asked. Snake spit his answer from his forked tongue. Lizard, you are always getting the best shadow spots in the heat of the day. This this is the only big rock for miles. Why don't you share your shade with me? Lizard thought for a moment, then agreed. Snake, you can share my shade spot, but you have to go to the other side of the rock, and you must promise not to interrupt me. Snake was getting annoyed. He hissed, how can I bother you, Lizard? All you do is sleeping. Lizard smiled and said, oh, Snake, you are such a silly serpent. I'm not sleeping, I'm dreaming. Snake wanted to know what the difference was, so Lizard explained. Dreaming is going into the future, Snake. I go to where future lives. You see, that is why I know you won't eat me today. I dreamed you, and I know you're full of a mouse. Snake was taken aback. Why, Lizard, you're exactly right. I was wondering why you said you would share your rock. Lizard laughed to himself. Snake, he said, you are looking for shade, and I'm looking for shadow. Shadow is where the dreams live. Lizard medicine is the shadow side of reality where your dreams are reviewed before you decide to manifest them physically. So there are a lot of people out there talking about manifesting things, but lizard medicine, so you get a chance to review it before you do it. So maybe catch some mistakes. Lizard is a medicine of dreamers. Whether dreamers smoke you or dream you, dreamers can always help you see the shadow. This shadow can be your fears, your hopes, or the very thing you are resisting. But it is always following you around like an obedient dog. Now, Lizard has turned up in the contrary position. You may be having a nightmare. This is the sign of inner conflict. Look at the nightmare for a clue to the nature of this conflict. What are the feelings your nightmare causes? Breathe through these feelings and let the sensations flow out of your body. See the truth in what your nightmare is suggesting. It could be the simple message that you are confronting your fears and therefore do not need to experience nightmarish events in your day to day life. Another message of Lizard Reverse is that you may need more sleep or dream time. It could also imply that you have a lack of dreams for your future. Imagination is the door to all new ideas and creation. So if you're going to create something, if you have no imagination, it could be kind of bland, right? As you examine the dreaming process, you will find that the subconscious is processing all of the recorded messages it holds concerning the events you experienced during the day. Now, as I've stated in the past, when you go to try to relax and to meditate, I used to try to stop all the things that happened to it would run and run and run and run. And it got to the point where I had to learn you have to let it scroll by. If you don't, you're never going to relax. I've got some mices running around here, and I just think I just saw one crawl across the table there in front of me. But anyway, so all these messages, a lot of it's talking about fear, observation, and keeping an eye out there. So some of these cards I pulled were not necessarily for the masses, but maybe it was for some of you, as some of you have already stated. So I hope that this has been enlightening in some way. I appreciate you hanging out. Three Finger says, I don't remember my dreams lately. It makes me feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, David Castle says, snakes are going to be snakes. Isby said, I just took a toke. Well, I got one sitting over here. I don't like to do it on camera, so y'all hold on a second. I'm going to take me a quick break. I got to find this thing over here. Cheers. Wash it down with some good mineral water with coffee attached. Wow, they call coffee, mud, right? I actually have mud to make coffee with. It's good water, though. It's healthy. Yeah, I was a little distraught today when I drew some water and it came out sort of pinkish. I was like, what? It's pinkish due to the light, but it's actually the red clay from the bottom of my well. I've had a small cave in, and I haven't had anybody to help me to dig it out in years. So I have to, and I've got two filters. There's one up on there, and there's one over here inside the house. And even with all the filters, there's the fine particles of the clay comes in, and oh well, I run some of the water through a filter, and I've got rainwater that I've been using. I've got two 1,000-gallon tanks, so I go out and get rainwater. If it's a little too muddy or something, it'll settle down. But right now, boy, it's coming out sort of pink, orange-ish is what it is. It's red clay, but anyway, you'll get your minerals. Let me tell you, naturally. But anyway, so. Without the cards and without that, though, back to the beginning of the subject of deep thought. So if you don't look at the cards, now, whether you believe in the cards or not, in listening to it, you go, well, you know what? An upside down lizard, he's, could be suggesting this. Well, so you have to be truthful with yourself and go, does this apply? And there are some days where you just go, this don't make no sense. Then okay. But it might make sense in 3 or 4 days. And you go, whoa, wait a minute. Squirrel, the thing about or rabbit, what am I doing? I'm standing in the middle of the field asking him to bomb me or, for a hawk to come and eat me. Pulled the hawk card, right? And it said to be observant. But a couple of days and you kind of got your blinders on, and then all of a sudden you go, holy crap, why didn't I look at the big picture? So, sometimes these messages that come to us in obscure ways. Now, I pulled these cards on purpose. There were 6 cards tonight, plus the one I pulled of Raven. But so if you want help, you can say, well, I need help with my dreams. I want Raven to help me to, connect or I want to send a message to, or a healing or something. So why not think of a bird? What a better way. And if many tribes and nations have venerated this bird for this reason, is it going to hurt for us to think of the raven and say, okay, Raven, I wish to use your medicine and your magic. I wish to send a message to my friend for a healing message. How's that going to hurt? It's a good visualization, and whether or not you believe in it or not, but it's the carrier of your message and it's the intent. So you're going to send, regardless, you're not going to send. Raven wouldn't take a negative message. That would just be contrarian in and of itself, and would harm all of those involved. So, and here in deep thought, now let's consider this. We think about, there are folks all the time that, it's the Democrats, and I used to do it. So, but here's the thing. So it's the Democrats. And every time they don't say Democrats, or, the D's are the R's, the donkeys are the elephants. And, the jackass might be appropriate here lately. But the idea, though, that so we have to say something. Every time we reference it, we have to call them Democrats. So, but do we have to? So, well, they're Democrats. Well, okay, that's what you believe. And all right, if you want to do that, but you're perpetuating something. No, but they're Democrats. They're David, that's Hillary, and Joe Biden. Okay, I get that. But what do you want to promote? Because if you promote this forward, it's going to come back. And is it really a positive thought that you're putting out there? So in this idea of deep thought, are you freaking thinking about what you're saying? Or are you just doing it and acting on an impulse? Because if you are, you're a freaking moron. To coin a phrase. Because you are a freaking moron. You can say what you want, sure. But if you keep repeating it up, well, I have the right to say this. Okay, I'm not saying you don't. But if you keep promoting that same thought and you keep putting that into the universe, typing it into Facebook and saying, and pushing this forward, what do you expect in return? The demons. Because you're calling these folks, whether they all are or not, Democrats, Democrats, Democrats. So you're putting it out there and you're typing it in and you're putting your intent. And Democrats, then what do you expect to get back out of that? It can't be good. But have you, I say you, but have they, and I've done it on occasions way back when, 4, 5, or 6 years ago, the last election. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm putting that energy forward. Now I can think it, and that's one thing. But to type it in the thing, and the people every time they talk about it, it's always the Democrats. It's the Democrats. It's I can talk about them folk who are not looking after our best interest. Esty Monfort, use copper bottles. Is that what you said? Yeah. Yeah, copper. Yeah. Yeah, but copper bottles are. But I suggest, I know this sounds crazy, but it's me. There are folks who eat off of plastic plates and stuff like this. And, and I'm like, well, one of the things that I've noticed, especially from a standpoint of cleaning, I use stainless steel bowls. My inside of my coffee cup here is stainless. And when I go camping, you can literally clean use some sand and scratch out the bottom of a pan and sprinkle a little water on it, and it's clean, where other surfaces are really hard to clean and hold bacteria a lot. But that's why stainless steel is used in in restaurants and so forth. But anyway, but as a eating utensil, I mean, it's a stainless steel bowl and it clanks and the thing. Yeah, but it's really easy to wash out. And for me, being single and all this stuff, it works for me. But if you're just snacking or whatever, then consider it versus plastic bowls. And God forbid, don't quit. I stopped using a microwave about 10 years ago. I got a microwave I'll give to somebody if they'll take the damn thing out of my kitchen. The only reason it's still in my kitchen is I don't know what to do with it. I don't know, somebody wants it, blah, blah, blah. Was thinking about taking the transformer out, though, and doing some experiments with that. But anyway. But the idea of this deeper thought. So have we really considered what we're saying and what we wish to convey? And I'm not saying, let me put it to you this way. See, I started to say, I'm not saying I stopped, and I'm going to rephrase this. Let me put it to you this way. So it's negative in that I don't agree with some of these folk, but at the same time, I'm not going to use their same rhetoric. I choose to choose my words more wisely. I choose to use a little bit of thought before I just blurt something out. And God forbid that I type something out there and put it in Facebook out there in the universe in such a manner that I can't take it back. It's out there and somebody has read it or not. I've entered it into the stream of consciousness. And, so all these algorithms are listening to our remarks. So the great AI, you want to change the course of things? Stop putting negative crap in on Facebook and doing these big things. Just say, I disagree with you. Or put up one of those frowny emojis or something. But folks are, demon cracks and blah, blah, blah. Anger. And it's going into the AI. It's going into the matrix. So how do they judge how you and I are reacting if this is what we're putting into the machine? Because it's learning from us, right? They put the reaction out there that cause and effect. So they put the chaos out there. They want to see what kind of effect it has on us. So if we play into the game, if we fall into that artificial matrix, it's the dragonfly that's saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should take a peek at this. The dream walker, what is reality and what isn't? What I know, this computer is real and table is, at least in this 3D dimension. Now, if I was a higher spiritual being or a ghost, my hand would pass right through the computer and the desk and everything. I get that. But in this reality, this is solid to me. It's not a dream. There's a chair, there's a floor. I poured this concrete, there's blood and sweat and tears in this concrete, literally in several places I can point out. But when we speak in esoteric terms of the universe and the stars and the expansion and the spirit and the kundalini and the God, all the stuff, that's something that we can visualize by using natural things and by using our imagination and our previous experience. If you accept and receive these energies and the wisdom from the universe, you'll understand that sometimes, wait a minute, that's a tree over there, but there are, there's microbes in it. There are tiny little ants. There's a worm crawling up it. There's a worm falling down. There's a bird sitting in it. It's an entire ecosystem, one tree. And you go, yeah, but it's just a tree. So we have to look at the macro. And we have to look at the macro, the big picture, the multiverse, if you will. Now, I know there are some people, the multiverse is the universe, and this, listen, There are multiple universes in the omniverse, and the omniverse is just another term for the universe. So quit getting your panties in a wad about, anyway. But that terminology doesn't fit. Listen, we're talking about something that's really way out there. So, but let's understand that we all consider there to be different timelines, different dimensional properties. I mean, I've seen spaceships just, be glowing along like this and doing this number here and then just go and disappear. Where'd they go? I don't know, but boing, they were gone. Whether it's ours or theirs, it disappeared. So, but the idea though that we have to be able to think deeper in thought. So, what are our actions and reactions to things? So, the mask thing. Okay, I'm now wearing a pair of kids' underwear around my head when I go into a store. Quite comfortable, I might add. And they come in different colors and size. But anyway, um, and it looks like one of those expensive ones, and then we're $1. But we adapt, but we adapt in ways that people go, well, okay, you know, I'm wearing underwear as a mask. And everybody asks me, yeah, this is a pair of kids' underwear. Oh, well, that really works as good as anything else. I can breathe through this and you're safe. If I sneeze over here, it ain't coming through. So, hey, okay. And they're clean underwear. But the idea of our deeper thoughts and where our faith lies in this. I've had many issues with my faith over the years. And I don't mean just in Christ or Jesus or the whatever. I mean faith in the universe. Faith in, does the universe really have my back? And after I spent them 3 days on the river, I realized that the universe had my back. Oh my God, it's true. But you have to believe it. It's like I knew I wasn't going to die on that river. It was going to be tough. I was going to be hungry and thirsty when I got out of there. Me and my dog made it and all this stuff, But the thing is I look back and go, other people would have died. Other people would have just wouldn't have made it. The confidence that I had was that as hot and as nasty, I was going to hibernate, which I did, and get through it. And okie dokie. And it's been about 6 years ago, a week ago, kind of thing. It was in August. So, this is my time of year for the spirit walking thing, I guess. And every year in August, I have times when it's 2 or 3 days, I'm like in the dream world and I'm not good for nothing. And I've noticed the other day in my deeper thinking, there's been a pattern here. Every August, I seem to have this, this thing going on. Well, it's hotter than snap, the humidity's, into the 104, 5 degree kind of thing. And so, but with that, I go, wait a minute now. So my reality is above that. I have survived these things, which gives me faith. I know that I can overcome them if I have faith. Now, was it hard? Yeah, I still had to get off of the river. I still had to, to struggle and do the thing and get back to my vehicle because I was way upstream with no water and so forth. But anyway, I went out of my boundaries looking for something. What happened was the spring of that same year, I get 2013. It'd be 7 years ago then. But anyway, in the spring of that year, on that same river, upriver on the stretches where I almost drowned. And so I went back upriver to see if any of the things that I lost in my kayak, and I did. I found my pouch and I found a cell phone, which was no good. But I lost a bunch of stuff in that drowning episode, and near freezing to death from the hypothermia. which is, don't take that lightly. But anyway, I've been through it so many times now. I'm not afraid of freezing to death. And I've come very close to it several times. And I know what that feels like. And after you get through doing the shaking thing, you just kind of go off into this dream world where you're not cold at all, but you're like frozen. And it's an interesting place to be, but it's also dangerous as you know what. But to the point though, so to be frozen and like that, and then be just suspended animation, if you will, hibernating like bear, has helped me to survive many things over time. So, but also, so has my faith. You know, no matter how hot or cold it was, I always thought, somehow I'm going to get through this. Somehow I'm going to make it. I was visiting a friend of mine a couple years back, and he said, "Remember that time we were on the carnival at the time, and we were in North Florida somewhere, but it was October, and every October before November, the before Halloween, we always played places in North Florida, and we were somewhere in North Florida, and we were going to hitchhike back to the town we were in to get some stuff we'd left behind. We didn't have a car. Our car broke down, and we were supposed to hitch a ride and missed it. Well, in this journey, nobody would pick us up because there were no cars. And so we got out on this highway early morning, you know, 3, 4 in the morning. It got cold, and all we had on were short sleeve shirts and jeans, and we're just going to hit back. And, well, you know, no problem. Oh boy, did we get stuck. But we both, he later on, he goes, you know, I thought I was going to die that night. And I was like, I know it felt like I was, but I just kept thinking, no, not tonight, you know. And I'd forgotten about that incident, but he reminded me, he goes, man, I couldn't quit shivering. I goes, you know, that's true. We found a spot on the side of the road and built us this little fire and huddled near it, you know. And the dew had dropped and everything was wet. And we were wet because the dew had dropped on us. And but the thing is though, having the knowledge just open, while there's a stick, let's break it. There's a piece of paper. I got some trash in my pocket. I'm always bad about having some kind of paper towel or something in my back pocket. And people go, why do you do that? And I go, well, I have cut myself, weirdest things, you know, and had reached in my pocket and go, well, this, you know, I washed my hands and dried them on this piece of paper towel. And now I'm using it to, you know, to, as a bandage or to wipe sweat or to start a fire. If, you know, it's amazing what a little piece of paper towel will do, you know, in a pinch. So, and unfortunately, at times I've gotten a little overboard with it, but to the point though, if you understand with deeper thinking, this can be used for that and that and this and this. And all I got to do is have a little piece of fold in my back pocket. Doesn't take up any room. Doesn't even, nobody even knows it's there, but I do, you know. I can blow my nose on it if I want, you know, but it's mostly more for something else, you know, like maybe a cut or a bruise or something in your eye, you know, and it's handy. So, but anyway, so there are things that we can do to help us out. Now, being a machinist and all, I was always cut myself or get something in the eye. So, you know, having a piece of like that in your back pocket, but out on the trail or something like that, a piece of aluminum foil down in caves. One of the things we did was we took aluminum foil. And so as we would get to a turn, there are a lot of mud and this and that. We'd cut a triangle with a little ledge on it out of aluminum foil. And we'd put it up on a ledge somewhere and pack it down with some mud. And then somebody would go ahead and then shine the light back down the tunnel. And if you had to make sure it was turned angled just right, because we missed one time, we didn't have it angled enough, and we literally went right past the triangle. You know, we were like, son of a bitch, we were here all along. But anyway, so we learned to say, okay, shine your light back down the tunnel, and when you do, that this piece of aluminum foil that sit there in this dark tunnel will reflect back at you, you know which way to go. Markings on the wall and all this stuff with string, but pieces of aluminum foil in places where you go, wow, which way do we go? Let's put a piece of aluminum foil over here. We go down this way, not that way. Okay. And so as we go down the tunnel, we turn back around, flash a flashlight. We know where it was a lighted path, right? Without having a light. So there are tricks of things all over the place. But can we think beyond our little constraints that society has put on us and so forth? And it's not just one area, it's all areas. It's underwear on your head in a moment of crap. I want to go in the store. It's the idea that it's okay if I put underwear on my head. This should be fun. They're clean. So where we stand, what does it matter? What do we want to put forth? I'm wearing underwear on my head and I think it's funny. And if anybody wants to laugh at me, go right ahead. It's for your entertainment. And so there are people who say, I'm not putting underwear on my head. Well, you're going to wear that silly ass mask. I think it looks stupid, but you go right ahead. I'd rather wear the underwear. At least I'm making a statement. I could stick my tongue out to never mind. I'm sorry. That was a little, but I'm trying to think about the person from the other side, right? Anyway, I'm crazy. It's 4 a.m. or what, something. And you people are crazy and keeping me up. But anyway, but the grand scheme of the whole thing, spiritually, with our soul, with our spirit, with the karma that we create while we were alive, not necessarily what we bring forward. So what do we want to push forward? The cards are telling us to be patient. The cards are telling us to watch out for the illusions. Be like Hawk and look at the big picture. Sometimes with Spider, we need to create the web to make sure it stays in. But are we missing things in our life that are out here on the fringes because we're not looking at the broader picture? And Deer is telling us to be calm and patient and use gentleness, not to force our issues on other people. Holy crap. Now if I was a preaching man and using the Bible, I'd be thumping right now going, praise the Lord, hallelujah. We've got all these wonderful animals that showed up tonight to bring their blessing and bestow upon us. You get the drill. But oh, what a message if we think about it. Oh, what a message. Each one of us. And the thing is that Dragonfly, whether we pull it again or not, is warning us of illusions and whether or not we have given up our own power. Because remember with Dragonfly, that the myth is that Dragon wanted to prove his magic. And so somebody dared Dragon, become a dragonfly, and he did. But when he did, he lost his magic. And so dragonflies are mini dragons. And there are dragonflies that come up to the house and come up to the window and fly around here. And normally you'd think of dragonflies as being around water. Well, I got a little pond area over here, and there's not really any standing water. But the fact that the dragonflies come here quite regularly and sit on the line out here and come to the window is, I find that just spiritual in that they're coming to say hi, they're hanging around, they're comfortable around here. Whether there's actual any water or anything like standing, but there's a pond over there and there's damp spots in the back. But to the point, I got to say, well, this really isn't dragonfly habitat, but they're all around here. So it's like, I'm doing something right? So I look at it in all respects in that there are all these critters that are around me. I mean, I walked out, I have frogs that slip under the door and crawl through the house and eat bugs at night. They'll get whatever it is, And I stepped in something the other night and I knew exactly what it was. And I was like, man, I stepped in toad crap. Now you might say, you what? Yeah. There's these little toads that not many things eat them. I think a snake might eat them once in a while. That's why I leave the snakes alone around here. But there's these little turds on the floor, and it was gushy. And I wasn't wearing any shoes, just walking across the floor, and I went, I just stepped on toad shit. I was like, sure enough, there's a little wet spot down on the floor, and I gotta go wash between my toes. But to the point though, but they're keeping down whatever bugs they're eating. And I'm like, I have stepped on the frog before. You know, frog goes, they'll literally just hop all the way across the floor. I mean, inside, outside. I went to a powwow down here in Cairo many years ago, and I was just my house. I didn't have as much here as it was basically just a small addition. Anyway, I go down there, and we'd just been talking about little people and fairies and that kind of stuff. And I go to this powwow, and it's like there's two booths. The second there's five of them in a row. The second booth down, I go up and I go underneath the awning, and the lady looks up to me and she goes, you have to leave a little space under the door so the little people can come in and out. And I looked at her and I went, how did you know that? How did you? She goes, weren't you just talking about that? We were in the car on the way. We hadn't even gotten to the powwow yet. And get out of the car and walk up to the thing. And here's this lady talking about, you have to leave a little crack so the little people, and the frogs can get in and out. And I went ahead, we were just talking about it. Never met this lady before. And I was like, now, how'd she do that yet? But to the point though, whatever, there's a big long bug crawling across the floor right now, like a centipede kind of thing. Millipede. Yeah, no, those I usually scoop up and chunk out and feed to the chicken. And folks said, well, you do what? And I'm like, yeah, I spray for ants and a couple other bugs. But as far as, I try to let critters take care of critters, and there are spider webs over here. They need clean, I know. But um, they catch a bug that's goes through, and I go, well, I was going to clean that spider web down, but damn if it didn't catch one of them little. We've got these little German cockroaches. Oh, and the last 10 years have literally taken over down here in South Georgia. We used to only have the big palmetto bug kind of roach, but these little sons of bitches, and they fly everywhere. And man, you got to keep them away from your house, or they're going to be infestated. And so I make sure that around my foundation and everything, it's always clean. That's why I put this walkway out here, was to keep anything from growing close to the house. And it keeps them buggers away. If I don't let the leaves build up on it, which can happen really quick, those little roaches, they stay out in the yard and in the barn. They don't come in the house. Now they try, they'll fly in at night, but I'll look over here and see something, and a spider will jump out of the corner and snag one of them little German roaches and munch on him. I'm like, well, got to keep you fed somehow. But anyway, I don't have roach problems like other people do that live in the city and spray all the time. Yeah, okay, so I clean the cobwebs down, but hey, and the frogs eat them too. So it's a win-win situation for me. But living in nature, and I know that the way I live is not what most other folks are doing, all this other kind. I get it, And yes, there are times I wish that the frogs couldn't get into the house, but I've gotten used to it. It's okay. It is what it is. But to live closer with nature, sort of like a teepee or a lodge, you're living on the ground, you're living next to the grass, you're on Mother Earth. My floor is made from cement and clay and sand from here on the property. So I wanted my house to be of Mother Earth, not just wood or whatever. So I made concrete mixed with stuff. So, as I'm sitting here, it may be concrete, yeah, but it's sand and clay from here. So it is part of here and Mother Earth. So I feel like I'm walking on Mother Earth, or just in a form of concrete. But anyway, and see, that was my intent when I did it. I was like, nah, I really want some of the dirt in this floor, I don't want it to just be poured, even though I did. But anyway, deeper thought. See, so in my thought, in pouring the floor, I was actually thinking in a higher realm, where other people would go, what are you doing that for, Dave? Well, because I have this thing about the earth. And when I walk barefoot on the floor, I want it to be part of Mother Earth. Well, technically that Portland cement and all those rocks, it's all Mother Earth. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I want some of here, Mother Earth, in the car. Well, what difference does it make? It's all, it's all part of the earth, you silly dumb, you know, but it's what I wanted. And it's what I got. So, but in that, that my intent went further than other people would. It's a deeper thought, at least to me. And so when I'm building stuff, I'm thinking with my intent, this is going to last a while. And now I have put stuff up that was temporary 10 years ago. And I need, but, I've had this 10 years of trying to get out from underneath the, all the medicine and stuff that I was on to put me here today. So every day's patience. Some things I've looked at and was like, I never thought it would get this bad. And now I'm looking at some things and going, that looked bad for a while, but I done cleaned it up. It don't look bad anymore. That spot over there, that blah, blah, blah. I cleaned it up the other day. Finally, after all this time, I cleaned it up. Yeah. And that spot over there, yeah, well, I cleaned that up the other day too. And it's the truth. I'm picking little things at a time. I cleaned out part of the bathroom over there that needed done for a while. I did this little thing and rearranged that. And the whole thing, I was like, well, that didn't take that much. But I'm usually outside on a project and it's been raining inside. Anyway, higher thought. If I do this little thing right now, every time I go in the bathroom, I go, I took care of that, which invites me to go fix something else over here. So anyway, I've been yakking for 2.5 hours now. Understand, though, we got to think more than just the surface of stuff. Without being without going insane. It's one thing to research a thing and say, well, there's a rabbit hole over there, and to gather up enough information and to go, you know what? I'm going to be satisfied with this outline or what I know about this over here. And I know that if I need to go, if my curiosity is piqued in any way, I can go back over there and do some more research and dive down that hole a little more. But in the grand scheme of things, so shamans would take into consideration all things. Here's this plant. Well, this plant here, this is a cactus, and you can get, the plums off of the cactus when they bloom, and you can, and in some places they eat cactus. The thorns are a bitch, but you can fry it up. The cactus can give you water. It can sustain you, and so a prairie apple, I think is what it's the prickly pear, yeah, around here. But so there are many things that if you just learn certain things, you'll know that no matter where you go or what you do, well, I may get hungry, but like there's grapes that are in right now, and some of them are really tasty and fruity. Big Bullus's muscadines, ooh, they good. And tomorrow, since I went out there with the weed eater at 11 o'clock tonight and cleared me a spot, I'm going to go out after some more of them grapes tomorrow. because they taste good and grapes are good for you. And like grapevine, for example, I was telling my friend the other day, I said, grapevines, people don't understand if you were thirsty that you can get water from a grapevine. You take a great big grapevine, you don't cut it in half, but you skin it and you cut it in a couple of places and put a cup or something under it and it will weep water. And the water that you get out of it is full of minerals and the water from the grapevine. It does, depending on the time of year and the vine and etc. But if you're going thirsty and, so you say, well, it's not much. Well, in the course of an hour or two, if you're thirsty, you can have water. And grapevines, well, different kinds of vines. And you say, well, it's a poisonous. Well, it depends on the vine, but most grapevines are not poisonous. And some of them you can even, if you got into a pinch, you could eat the leaves. It not real tasty, but it ain't going to kill you. Give you some roughage. But how many people know some of this stuff? And is it in your neighborhood? And where do you live? And what's native to you? So one of the reasons I'm still down here in the South is because there is diversity here. There are some places that are not quite as diverse. So, you got to be a little bit more picky. But in my deep thought of things, I chose, listen, where do I want to live and what do I want to do? And then this place came up and I've got a town that's 15 miles that way, 20 miles this way, 30 miles that way, and 6 miles over here and 12 miles over there. So there's all these little towns and I don't live near any of them. The closest one is 6 miles. But I have access, but I don't have the pressure of a big city, and I've got all the conveniences, and I can drive a little further. I went into Moultrie and went to the Home Depot, so I can get the stuff. But the thing is that at my age, what do I need? And for a long time, though, it has been what is for me anyway. What is necessary? So each one of us has to make that determined. How deep do you want to go in thought? What does it matter? Does making a nasty reply to somebody because they hate my ideas on Trump or something, and we got to call them Democrats and all of this? Listen, we need to quit calling each other names. We just need to. We need to quit feeding negative into the AI. Bob, we love you, and it's been pretty good. But we need to quit putting negative emotions and feelings into the matrix. We need to stop feeding that animal. And if we give enough people, all we got to do is tell people, say, listen, I understand, but if you keep repeating it over and over again, we're putting these feelings into the universe. Do you really want to do that? And it's not that you're telling them that you don't value their opinion, just whether or not that they should put their opinion out there forever and ever. That's what you should ask them. Think a little deeper on what you're doing. You're typing this in a thing and you're putting it out there on Facebook and blah, 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 blah. Do you really? I know you have the right to, but should you? Well, it's my right. Go right ahead. Bitch, complain, but that's all you do is bitch and complain. So what good are you going to come out of doing nothing but bitching and complaining? What do you want it to come back on? You got to use deeper thinking. There's a bigger picture. Hawk warns us. Take a look at the whole thing. Dragonfly says, stop with the illusion. Yeah. Do the cards say it? Well, at least they help to give us an outline. Is it a path? No, but we can say, well, you know what? That's a dragonfly moment over there. You know what? That over there? Ooh, that's an upside down lizard. Whoa, What about this over here? Ah, that's a raven message. Oh, okay. And that's over here. Yeah, and deer, I need to be more gentle and stop forcing it. And yeah, and spider, yeah, the whole universe is connected like a spider web. Do I want to make a nuisance? What do I want to do? Or do I want to live with and create with the spider and create a peaceful universe and create that which Spider Woman wanted to create, was a peaceful and loving place, millions of years ago. And so, millions of years ago, to a Native American and a shaman, you'd think, what are you talking about here? Guess what? It's because they all think within deeper thoughts. Each one of us is capable of it. Each one of us should do it. Not all the time now, but we have to consider deeper things than just say, taking, well, you know what? We're all gods and goddesses. Well, what does that mean? Well, I don't know, but that's what they told me. We're all gods and goddesses. And it don't matter about religion. Well, okay, but what do you mean by that? I'm a god. Because I'm a guy. Well, maybe you have a feminine side. Aren't you? Could be a goddess. Oh, don't you start that with me now. Okay, let's take this. All right. Here's the thing. We're all spiritual beings. Let's agree on that. We're all connected to the universe. Let's agree on that. Anything else really doesn't matter, except the fact that, are you the good guys or the bad guys? Or are you that somewhere in between bitching all the time? Can't get off the fence. Bitch, 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 bitch. Make them become the compassionate observer. Keep an eye on both sides. And if you need to jump off of that middle point and dive in over here one way or the other, go right ahead. But choose your, what was it? Choose which days you choose to die. Now, that's a little dramatic, but you pick your battles, right? So it's like, well, there's a battle. Well, does everything have to be a battle? Or can it be just a little skirmish? Somebody fired a rifle. Oh, son of a bitch, them Yankees are right over there. Shoot their hats off. All right. Or in this spiritual warfare, if we call it warfare all the time, then we're at war. So we've already got a mindset, well, I'm at war with the other guys. So what we think, and if we think deeper and go, wait a minute, am I really at war, or am I just, because when I backed off on them negative energies and quit trying to, you bad guys, when I just said, I know you're there, I'm going to do the best I can right here. I can see you over there, It's like swimming with sharks, okay? They're dangerous. They could eat you alive, chew your leg off in a heartbeat, but that don't mean that they are. So you learn to respect them. You learn to be calm. Now, I ain't getting in the water with no sharks. I've been in water with sharks and just not going there. Sorry. I'm going to get out of the water until they leave. But because they're much bigger than me. But anyway, but the idea, though, that people do swim with the sharks and that you can swim with the sharks, and not all sharks are nasty, evil, wicked, mean, and bad, nasty. So you learn to respect. So in the thing about evil, yeah, there are evil beings out there, but if you don't go picking a fight with them, they're still there. I ain't got no power to zap them into another dimension. So best thing to do is be wary, see them, be aware that they're there, but at the same time, be strong in your own convictions and have your armor ready. Now, if the bitch comes over here and wants to start a fight, that's separate. But I'm going to warn them ahead of time. Look, I don't want to pick no fight with you. I see you over there. I respect your right to exist in this universe, but just respect me back. That's been my whole thing. When I said, okay, not so nice dude sitting over there, I see you. You have the right to exist, but do you allow me the right to exist? And when I sort of got to this point of, even though they were the bad guys, telling them, look, I know you're bad. I know you're against, a negative against me, but can we coexist? Can we honor each other's space? And when I brought up, will you honor my space over here? Well, I just ignore your space. I'll honor yours in that you have the right to exist. And things calmed down a bunch. I mean, like, whoa. And there was a feeling that washed over me that was like, I thought a little deeper because I had to think past. It's the enemy. There's sharks. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm going to pick a fight with them. Blah, 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 they're all going to eat me. But I can respect them in their own space. And it's a big leap of faith, my friends. A big one. And you go, well, what am I going to do in protection? Hey, I got crystals. Let's see if you can see that. This is black tourmaline and several pieces in a matrix. I took this out of a mountain. I dug it out of the side of a mountain up in North Georgia and carried it about 3 miles out of this area. It's also got some mica in it right there. That's the shiny stuff. And actually, from where this comes, there might actually be pieces of gold in this. It came from up towards Dahlonega. But now, black tourmaline is considered by several folks and places and whatever as being a ward against evil. Is like protection. And while I'm showing off rocks, I'm going to show you this one here. This, you see this puppy here? I mean, if I put it on my shoulder, you see how big this thing is. It weighs several pounds. And this is a piece of smoky quartz. And I think it came out of Brazil. And a friend of mine that I knew years ago got lots of rocks and stuff from him. His father was a geologist and an archaeologist and a gymnast and all that. And they had all kinds of different kinds of gems and things. And he called me over to his house one time. And he goes, I'd bought several pieces of jewelry from him that I still have, and rocks and stones. I bought some ruby and some jade from him, and real honest to God jade. And he says, look, I need somebody to replace it, put a toilet in for me. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I got the new toilet and everything. And he goes, and the old one's already out, but I don't know how to set it. And I said, okay. And he goes, but I'll trade you. And I said, all right, what do you trade me? And he goes, there's all these crystals and rocks in his yard, right? And I immediately saw that great big piece of smoky quartz. And I said, what about that piece over there? And he goes, well, that piece there is worth about $125. And this has been 30 years ago, damn near. And he goes, is that going to be enough? And I was like, yeah. Well, I'll put the toilet in for you and fix it up and whatever and put the wax seal. I've done this a bunch of times. And he goes, and you'll take that rock? And I said, yeah. So I've had that for at least 25 years. But it's It's 30, I guess more like 35. It was back in the late 80s. So, this is 30 something years ago. Anyway, so I've had this rock. So, but I traded it, to put in somebody's toilet. And I've gotten other pieces of rocks and things over the years. So it's sitting right here beside me. So my energy and my protection, I've got some fluorite sitting over there. And, I've got several other crystals down here in the bottom over here. I might just do a crystal thing one night or one day or something and show you some of the ones that I have. But so, I'm surrounded by rocks that I have tuned and that have been in tune here at this place. There are folks who come and visit, go, it just feels so comfortable at your house. I don't know what it is. I've tuned it, if you will, with the crystals. And if something's out of whack, you know, then the crystals need to be saged or whatever like that, and get the woolly boogers out. But by and large, though, um, if you put peace into something, that's gonna be the vibration you get back out. So anyway, I do believe in having protection, but at the same point, I have set these things using my higher brain years ago, and I keep up with them. I have to sage them and bless them and speak into them. And like, there's a couple over here in the window that desperately need. I should have put them. I should have put them out in the rain. Actually, it's really not too late, but just to get fresh water on them, and to get sparkly clean and get the dust off and all that kind of stuff. But so you can protect yourself with natural things, how you use your energy and what you put into them. Keep it simple. There are people who are just try to overdo it, no overthink things. So you can think on something so hard that you're looking for a positive and you'll actually get a negative response out of it. So, and that's not good. So we have to be careful. We have to be, you know, keep our eyes open, look at the whole picture, and be willing to expand our minds. Think bad shit of others. They think the worst of you too. Weird. Yep, that's right, Isby. The brick is their home. That is their home. I'll stick to the land. Uh, I got a rock to show you too, Brother Dave. Okay. You want to dig so bad? Yeah, I got me a rock collection too. I got it out here in the yard. I got some really big, humongous rocks that I collected out of North Georgia. Some of them from North Carolina, a rock or two out of South Carolina. Most of them from North Georgia. Well, nah, North Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. Up in that spot, right up in there. I done a bunch of traveling up there, and every time I went, I brought a rock back. Yeah, I don't have. There are not a lot of rocks down here. When you go over towards the Flint River, there are big pieces of flint and limestone, but there's not really any rock down here. It's more clay. Now we've got these little pebble rock things, but they're not really rocks. Maybe in a slingshot. But we're too far south. We're mostly sand and clay on top of whatever sediment, and a lot of limestone underneath us further down. A lot of clay we're sitting on here. A lot of crystal mines up the East Coast. Wow, yellow diamond. I used to have some Herkimer diamonds. And you hold them in your hand, and they were like Mexican jumping beans. And some of these things would literally jump around in your hand. And I'm somewhere, I think I still have a couple, but I've given a bunch of them away over the years. I used to do I'd go to North Georgia and different places, and go camping. And I'm being a rock hound, so I'd always stop at rock shops, little places along the side. There was one up in North Georgia that I used to do a lot of business. And every 3 months I'd go by and, knew the guy by first name, and he'd say, that rock he was looking about, well, I found something like this, or what do you think about it? I got to know some of the folks up there, and, got to know some of the guys up in North Carolina where I got some of these over here. Up around the Nantahala outdoor center, there used to be a rock store there, and a talc mine just up the river where you put in and go down the Nantahala, I believe it is. Yeah. Anyway, but we used to know those guys by name because we were up there every 3 or 4 months, camping and visiting. Never went hunting. Did some fishing, caught some trout and some fish up there. But so my friends, I want to tell you that I love you much. Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to run my mouth for the last 2.5 hours. Oh, crap, 3 hours now again. Think deeper thoughts. Keep up the good work. Have faith, have faith, have faith, have faith. And if you're almost there and you say, well, I believe in this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and you're almost there, then that means you got the rest of it. That's what I realized. And Isby, we still will chat, okay? So maybe tomorrow. Um, Indian, is Indians here? Railroads are fantastic spots. Three Finger, it's been an enjoyable listening. You're very welcome. Thank you. Love you, brother Isby. Yep. So thank you all. I never expect to do 3 hours again, but here we are doing it again, right? So I'm glad it means something to you folks and that we can hang out. And thank you for your kind messages and prayers. Let's keep up the good work. Keep deep thoughts like Jack Handy, right? So I love you all. Thank you. Cosmic hugs. And I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, and the wisdom from the universe. I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive the healing, the wisdom, and the knowledge from the universe. And as the law of three goes, I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives and relations, and anyone you may come in contact with, will learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom of the universe and continue to share that wisdom and reject the negative chaos that these crazy folk are pumping out. So keep the faith, my brothers and sisters. Isby, Brick, Thinker. Wait, who is that? Thank you, thank you, thank you for hanging out. The Brick. Three Finger. Yeah. Okay. And anybody else that's still hanging out, we love you, Cosmic Hugs. Keep the faith, my friends. I know it's going to be tough at times, and we just got to hang in there. So, wait, I missed somebody here. Este Munford, if you're still out there, it's okay with you. Thank you. Have a good morning. And from South Georgia, TTFN, ta for now. Keep it between the ditches, and when it rains, it pours, and the clay gets slicky. So you got to keep it between the ditches. Love to you all. Till next time. Be good out there.